Be aware of hidden assets when you try to leave the narcissist. You know, in many cases, assets can be split fairly, but not if nobody knows about them. So this wasn't really something that I had to worry about, luckily, in my divorce. But a lot of my clients and people that I've seen online, hidden assets has been a huge problem for them because, you know, it causes so much pain and suffering, especially if they are trying to find a place to live on their own and they don't have the money to do it because their partner has hidden assets. And it can be really especially painful when maybe you've inherited money or something like that and your partner has gotten a hold of that money and they're trying to keep it from you. So that happened to a client of mine. I'll tell you a story about a past client. I'll call her Melissa. She owned a business with her partner and, you know, they put their money together and purchased the business, but she let him run it because he knew more about this particular field. And, you know, they would consult each other every now and then on large purchases or things like that. But for the most part, she just let him deal with it. And she had a separate career that she worked. And without her knowing, he was slowly moving money out of the business account into his own personal secret accounts somewhere that she never found. So that when they got divorced, the business was an asset that they had to split fairly, but because he had taken so much money out of the business accounts, the business didn't have as much value anymore, and they had to sell it for much less than it was worth. She didn't find out until later that he was, you know, had hidden all this money, and he was living very well on that money, where she was really struggling to get by and live the lifestyle that she had lived before they got divorced. Luckily, like I said, she had a really great career and she was able to make that money back and get back to the lifestyle that she had before. She was much better off after being with this person because, you know, he had been toxic the whole time. She just hadn't realized it because she was ignoring some of the signs. So there are so many ways that narcissists and other toxic people can hide money. I found an online resource that I don't have any affiliation with, but I have found lots of benefit from her information, and, you know, I've shared with my clients. And her name is Tracy Conan. She has a website called The Divorce Money Guide and an Instagram account also. So she shares lots of information there about money and how, you know, men in particular hide their assets. She has a divorce money guide that you can go on her website and purchase as well. So some of the things that she shared that men use to hide money is that they will just take money directly out of the joint savings account and put it into a separate secret account. They will also, you know, use a credit card. They'll have a secret credit card and they'll pay for that credit card out of the joint account. They will have gambling accounts online. They will just hide cash around the house. And the funny thing about all of those is they're really easy to figure out if you're paying attention, but a lot of times women don't pay attention until they figure out that money's missing or they're trying to get divorced and they're all of a sudden looking at the accounts and seeing that, hey, there's a lot of weird transactions going on here. So, you know, you need to pay attention to your accounts. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today. There are some other ways that narcissists can hide money. Narcissists in particular are very sneaky and conniving, and they can figure out how to hide money in a way that you won't find it. unless you are really paying attention to your accounts. So one of the ways that they do this is by establishing a trust. So what they do is put money in a trust. They establish themselves and their children as beneficiaries. They leave out the wife or the partner, and they assign somebody as the trustee. And usually the trust terms determine how assets are distributed. So it can leave out the partner completely. They may also purchase a life insurance policy. Depending on the policy, money can be borrowed or dividends can be paid out over time. Someone besides the spouse can be listed as the beneficiary. So, a lot of times they'll put their children or a parent or a sibling or something. One of the other ways they hide money is through a shell company. And what this is that kind of what it sounds like. It's a shell of a company. So it doesn't really have any meaningful or significant assets or transactions, but the owner's name can be hidden under layers of other corporate entities. And the owner can transfer assets into the company, and it appears as if the company owns the assets. So, imagine like having real estate, but it's owned by this shell company. Your marital assets paid for the real estate, but it's owned by this company. So therefore, you can't split it between you. So owning a business is another way that they hide money. And what they do with that is they pay fake employees sometimes. So it could be a child, a sibling, a parent, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And they're paying them a salary through the company, and they are having that person kick back that money to them. They can inflate expenses, make it look like, these supplies cost so much more than they did, where, they're using that money for themselves. They can delay large sales until after the divorce so that it looks like the company's not worth as much as it really is until after the divorce. They can invest in art or other collectibles, and these are often overlooked because you don't know the value of the things they're collecting. So I think of this one friend that I had that they weren't getting divorced, but her husband was really into sports memorabilia. Like that was his whole entire job and business, and he earned millions by trading these different sports memorabilia articles. And sneakers is another huge one. That's kind of a more recent thing. They purchase these, really expensive sneakers, and they turn around and resell them to somebody else for more money, and they're making a large amount of money with these sneakers. Paintings, of course, we've heard about that. Antiques, jewelry, other things like that. And then they can also try delaying their bonuses or promotions. So they just go to the employer and say, look, I'm going through a divorce. I know I've got this bonus coming up. Can you delay it until January after the divorce is final? Or same with the bonus. Or did I say bonus? Promotion. Same with the promotion. Don't promote me until after my divorce is final. And then the last one is real estate. So the partner can hide money in real estate partnerships. So they join with somebody else and they put money together to purchase something. They can list a shell company as the owner or list another family member as the owner. They can also take out a mortgage loan on, say, your house that you're living in, and it will make it look like your house is not worth as much money. The value is less because they owe this, loan on it. And so how do you protect yourself from assets being hidden? narcissists and other toxic people can be sneaky, conniving, like we talked about. They can hide these assets really well. So the first thing you need to do is don't ignore your joint finances, like my client that I told you about. Don't count on your partner to take care of everything. You know, at least sit down with this person once a week, once a month. Make sure that you know where all the money is going, how much money is coming in, what's going out, what your expenses are, what debt you have, what's in your retirement accounts. You know, find out all that information. I also insist on seeing any statements regarding 401ks, IRAs, or any other investment accounts. If you're considering a divorce or a separation even, you know, even if you don't end up going through with a divorce, at least make copies of the last 3 months of all of the statements, because your attorney will want that information. And it's going to be much harder to get that information from your partner if you announce that you're wanting a divorce or a separation. If they refuse to give you a copy, then, you know, write down any amounts that you saw, write down the name of the business or account that the money is in so that you can have it for your attorney. You'll also need to make note of any credit card statements or other debts you have. You don't want your partner purchasing large items that you're going to end up having to pay part of. They can go, or, you know, and sell this thing, but the charge is on the credit card. So you end up having to pay part of it, or, you know, the whole thing. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And last, make sure you have some money set aside for yourself in your own account that will cover, you know, best case scenario, it will cover attorney's fees, and it will cover a few months living expenses. And I know that's not possible for everybody. Very worst case scenario, make sure you have money for gas. Make sure you have enough money to get you to a relative or friend's house until your attorney can file papers in court that will help you get spousal support, child support, or whatever, or until you get a job. And finances can be really scary. I know they can, especially if you earn less than your partner, or if you haven't earned money because you've been the stay-at-home parent. But peace and security can be found on the other side. The scariest thing is just not knowing about your finances in the first place. So in this case, knowledge is power, and you got this. You can do this. If you need support, reach out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.